How was the New Music West? Did you?
What's your opinion on that? I don't know.
It's no different than. Sorry.
It's weird that they switched it to Edmonton for the first time. I don't know what that meant, but usually it was in Vancouver, right? So.
And do you think that's like kind of a sign that Edmonton's on an upswing?
Quite possibly, yeah.
I just think someone needs to take what they did in Vancouver and do the New Music Waste. So because it's kind of a popularity contest, and that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
But a lot of bands don't get to play because they cherry pick. So New Music Waste in Vancouver was all about the bands that didn't get picked.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
And it was really cool because those venues were packed too. So it wasn't just like the best bands that get to play all the time anyways are playing New Music West.
Yeah.
And the bands that kind of get a chance get to play
Yeah,
New
the
Music
bands.
Waste.
And what's your kind of take though on like that kind of concept of getting bands to compete for some kind of prize? Like, do you think it benefits the scene or kind of takes away from it?
It's a tough one.
It is a tough one because sometimes it is a good thing, but I mean,
it's hard. It's one of those things like you can't like it's like trying to describe taste or something. Like it's hard to pinpoint they're better than them or they're better than them when it's kind of
subjective.
A rounded thing.
It's nice for bands to get a little cash for sure, and I think that's the positive outcome is that they get some money to either record or maybe tour a bit or whatever their aspirations.
Yeah,
are.
like you get a nice barbecue.
It was a little bit frustrating.
A little bit.
I sat there all day and they didn't pick any of the bands that I knew or was friends with.
Yeah.
And Colleen Brown's a great artist.
Oh, really good.
Yeah, she won the thing, which I was happy for, but I thought maybe they could pick something that was unknown.
Yeah, like kind of like an artist that's just kind of getting going, where like some money like that would
that's
really,
what it seemed
really
like
benefit.
Yeah,
Like help someone that's trying to.
Yeah, just spread the love around.
Well, yeah. And what's your guys' take on like overall Edmonton? Because you're from Saskatchewan, and you guys were kind of in Vancouver there for a while.
Yeah, it's a great scene here. Like it's really like there's a lot of cool bands, a lot of talent all over the place too. It's not just one genre. There's massive metal bands that are incredible, all the way through the punk and the indie and rock and roll. I mean, it's got everything. It's got players. This city has really good players.
Yeah, it does. It's probably
like when you go to Blues on White on any night of the week,
that
you're
place
almost
is pretty
guaranteed to see someone that will blow in your mind.
Yeah. Every day they have someone in there.
Oh, yeah, really good.
I've never seen a place like that before.
Yeah, the Yale sort of in Vancouver, but even I don't know if they swap out the talent as much as they do here.
And how do you think those two scenes compare? Can you?
As far as the
like Vancouver and Edmonton.
Well, Vancouver's just bigger.
Yeah, I think it'd be easier to get noticed in or not easier to get noticed, but it'd be easier to get somewhere quicker. I think because people are more geared to Vancouver artists or whatever.
Yeah, they have the spotlight on them a bit more than up here. I mean, they don't mention us very much on the news or anything.
Yeah, but do you think the fact that Edmonton right now is kind of like unknown and we don't have a lot of outside eyes, like do you think that's kind of benefiting us and kind of making our community really stick together?
I think it's making good music actually.
Yeah.
It's more authentic really because it's like you're doing it because you love it, not because you're like, oh, what if?
Yeah.
It's more...
Yeah, you don't get the scene. I mean, I guess the scenesters are everywhere, and that's not necessarily a bad thing either. I don't want to get myself in hot water here, but it just seems like because it is so remote up here, people have to do it because they love it. Because there's not a whole bunch of accolades. You're not. You don't play clubs that are just busy anyways. Doesn't matter who's playing. It's busy. Like in Vancouver, a lot of time, clubs are busier because there's just more people.
It's also too like when you see. For instance, like Built to Spill when they came here, you're like, he came here? That's wicked. And Screeching Weasel played in Edmonton only? That was awesome.
First time in Canada in 20 years.
They picked Edmonton.
That's really cool.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
So do you think Edmonton's kind of starting to get the elements or the pieces that where we can explode like
I think so.
Some kind of other cities?
I think so for sure. Like just the Wonder Bar, for example, how packed and popular that place is now.
I think a lot of bands are, especially bigger bands like Primus and bands like that they're coming back.
Yeah.
Because they've never been here before. And like last year they came and they're coming back because they fans appreciate music here.
Yeah, people are more acceptable, that's for sure.
So fans do appreciate music here, right? And like when bigger acts like Primus come in, it seems like there's a huge turnout. But then you go to like local shows, right? And there's not the turnout. Like what do you think is like the disconnect there?
it's a promotion thing, I think, for some places. Places like Rod at DV8, he's done a great job. He's busy a lot of the time because he's really worked on that aspect of getting those punk bands in there and some metal and stuff like that. But I think it's just a tricky business to begin with.
Yeah.
It's hard to get people. A lot of people just want to go out and drink cheap drinks and hear canned music, where the live music is, it can be hit and miss.
Yeah.
That's like the Vancouver thing. When we were there, it started becoming DJs.
Yeah.
The good venues started to shut down. And
Like
just
Town
had
Pump,
guys
yeah.
spinning records. And that's not really happening here. It's actually
As much.
yeah, it's happening there, I guess, but it's not. There's more places to see, or it's easier to go see bands on any given night.
Like the Black Dog and stuff like that, where they all those free shows. I mean, they're busy, so they're doing something right. Cheap beer and really good music. They pick.
So are bands just not doing like the legwork to get the kids out, or
No, I think it's just finicky to get people to want to go out to certain venues. Like especially downtown. I know it's slower down there, so it is harder to get people out. But White Ave does pretty good. I mean, even Live on White before it closed down, it was getting a bit of a draw, but just because they had the walk-in traffic. But like I said, like the Wonder Bar we were talking about earlier, that place is just packed all the time.
Oh, I mean, they're doing really good things for the scene, like really good guys there.
Yeah.
Pawn Shop's a good venue too. They seem to bring a lot of people in. Like,
Yeah.
They do a lot of promo.
Yeah, Pawn Shop, but I hear like
Band
from
of
a
the
lot
month.
of bands that they really like Pawn Shop, but it seems like the Pawn Shop's like cursed. Like I'll hear bands and it's like whenever they play the Pawn Shop, it's like they have a good turnout and whatever, but they just like their shit breaks down or for whatever reason, it's just like some kind of horrible.
Oh, really?
Maybe there's a pawn shop. Who goes? I don't know. What can people kind of expect off the new record? Because it seems like you guys recorded that and that's coming out, but then you guys dropped a guitar player and it seems like you guys are kind of moving towards a new sound. So
Yeah, it's more. I don't know how you could describe it. It's not necessarily more poppy. I don't know.
It's a bit more dry. I think we're headed in a slightly different direction.
Yeah, more punk rock because
because Brad hits him so hard.
So is that CD release kind of like the closing of a chapter, and you guys are kind of?
I guess you could say that. Yeah,
It was unfortunate chapter before.
Yeah. We had people leave. Whenever people leave, you sort of have to. You never want to stagnate and stay doing the exact same thing with adding new members. So we just thought, why don't we just start fresh?
Yeah, and some of those songs like when we play it, it's not the same because the other guitar player's not on it.
Yeah, Darren's not there, and it's missing. It's lacking. What he was
Yeah,
doing. You can't really recreate it with the three piece.
Yeah, so
And now you guys have recently signed to Ocapple Records.
It was a multi-million-dollar deal.
Yeah, well,
he mortgaged his house.
Sweet.
No, Nathaniel, he's been great.
He has been great.
He's really doing lots of legwork and stuff. He's really passionate about it. It's
Great
good to see.
musician. Yeah.
That's a good thing about Edmonton. Like if they're doing it, they're authentic and they really do it because they love it.